So I'm the director of our adult basic education here on the campus of Springfield Tech Community College. There's a huge waiting list for our classes because they are free, and the program's a relatively new one. We serve about 400 students a year. Their average age is about 33. They've come to us because they've heard from their friends and their neighbors, maybe their employers, that they really need to go back to school and get their high school diploma, which we call now the HiSET or the GED. They're nervous because for most of them they had a bad experience. Maybe they had a learning disability, maybe they had some issues around mental health. Now here they are 20 years later realizing that I've got to go back to school, and STIC is a great place to go because we try to convince them, and others have too, that without the high school diploma, it's really hard to make a living. The statistics are 1 out of 4 adults does not have a high school diploma. Imagine that 25% of our adults in Springfield still need to get the high school diploma. We have about 100 people that come in our doors and they take a placement test so we know exactly where they start out in math and reading and writing, and then we call them in when there's a vacancy in the class. Thank goodness most of them are motivated enough to stay on that wait list. The beauty to our program is we're funded by the state, so the classes are small size, so the teachers who are really trained to work with adults can use different techniques, different instructional tips and tricks to really engage these adults. About 60 to 85 people a year get their HiSET, and of those 85 people, about 60% of them continue on to go to classes here at STCC. So the students who are successful with us is someone who's kind of proactive, who will talk to his or her peers and fellow students during the class to work on projects. But we're trying to build in them a little bit of an attitude and a discipline of studying outside of class. Students who don't necessarily complete our courses are the ones who come in just expecting that the teachers will dump this information into them like a sponge, and then they'll take that information and take the test, the HiSET, and pass it. It doesn't work that way. We're fortunate to have faculty and staff who've been doing this for a while, and they go to a lot of professional development trainings so that they learn new techniques about working with adults and what kind of adult materials you use to promote and support that independence for students. The other thing our instructors do is we try to couch all of our lessons into some kind of career context. We also do a lot of exploration of the labs and the programs on campus. So if somebody shows a real interest in becoming a carpenter or becoming a certified nurse's assistant or becoming an auto mechanic, our instructors try to find those materials, reading materials and math materials that lend themselves to that kind of job and career. It's also important that we let these students know that unless you're very serious, there's another 300 people waiting out in the hallway for this seat. Another branch of what we do is our English for speakers of other language for new immigrants. Now's a very tough time in our country around our treatment and our support of refugees and immigrants. But fortunately, Massachusetts has made a commitment to continue to funding those classes. What's the future of our program? You've heard of this place called the MGM Casino. So that's going to create this huge employment explosion. Of course, their bottom line is nobody works at the casino who doesn't have a high school diploma. But the casino, recognizing that they've got a lot of hiring to do, has, for example, provided a pot of money for more ABE classes in the city. The college is going to provide a lot of training programs for jobs at the casino, and we want our students to get their HiSET so they could be eligible to take those training programs. Because as I said, 1 out of 4 people in Springfield don't have a high school diploma. It's a huge need. We've got to find another way to provide more classes and more ways of folks to get this education.